Today, I want to emphasize the critical role tenant relations play in property management. When we build strong, positive connections with residents, we don't just improve their living experience, we directly enhance property performance. Good tenant relationships lead to higher retention rates because happy residents are more likely to stay long-term. They also foster trust, which makes communication smoother and resolves issues faster. Ultimately, this trust and retention boost the overall value of the property. Staying on schedule with our commitments is key to maintaining these strong relationships. This foundational principle sets the stage for everything else we'll discuss moving forward. Tenant relations are really the foundation for stable property management. When these relationships are strong, the property operates smoothly and maintains its value. First, good tenant relations lead to better retention. Happy tenants are more likely to renew their leases, which means fewer vacancies and lower turnover costs. Next, open and honest communication allows property managers to identify and address maintenance or service issues early on, preventing bigger problems down the line. Finally, a positive relationship builds trust, which strengthens the property's reputation. This trust results in better reviews and easier interactions, ultimately creating a more resilient and attractive property brand. So every tenancy counts, and managing these relationships well is key to stable operations. When tenant relations suffer, the effects ripple throughout the entire property management process, creating what we call a delay cascade. It often starts with communication slips, slow replies, unclear updates, and missed expectations. These small frustrations quickly pile up, leading to rising tenant dissatisfaction. As communication falters, trust begins to erode. More complaints come in, and escalations increase, which in turn creates more tension and demands more management time to handle issues that could have been avoided. This lack of confidence causes residents to disengage, resulting in fewer lease renewals and more vacancies. The increased leasing pressure not only makes it harder to fill units, but also impacts overall tenant retention. Ultimately, the impact reaches the portfolio level, where revenue starts to decline. Higher operating costs combined with lower tenant retention weaken the overall asset performance. This slide really emphasizes that every delay, no matter how small, has a significant downstream cost that affects the health and success of the entire property portfolio. When we talk about tenant relations and property management, communication truly is the foundation of every strong relationship. Clear and timely communication isn't just about exchanging information. It's about reducing friction and building trust. When tenants feel heard early on, small issues don't have a chance to grow into costly problems. There are some key principles to keep in mind. First, responding quickly is essential because silence often leads to frustration. Tenants want to know their concerns are being taken seriously. Being on time means setting expectations early, which helps everyone stay on the same page. Clarity is also crucial. When we communicate clearly, misunderstandings are minimized. Finally, following through with updates builds credibility and reassures tenants that we are actively managing their concerns. By applying these principles consistently, every message is accounted for and every tenant feels valued. This is how strong, lasting relationships are built from the very foundation up. Here we're focusing on the importance of responsive maintenance in tenant relations. Timely responses to repair requests, like fixing a leaking faucet, a broken light, or conducting an HVAC check, show tenants that their concerns matter. Notice that most tasks are completed on time, which is crucial because prompt repairs build trust and satisfaction. Even when a door repair takes a bit longer, those quick responses overall demonstrate that management is attentive and reliable. This not only ensures tenant comfort but also encourages them to stay longer. Essentially, fast and reliable maintenance turns simple requests into proof that management truly listens and cares. Every maintenance request is tracked and addressed, reinforcing a positive relationship between management and tenants. When we talk about the core operating duties in tenant relations and property management, there are several key responsibilities that define the role. First, communication needs to be clear and consistent. This means keeping tenants informed and ensuring that every message is understood. Next, resolving maintenance issues quickly is crucial. Addressing problems fast not only keeps tenants happy, but also prevents bigger issues down the line. Setting expectations from day one is another important task. When tenants know what to expect, it creates a smoother relationship from the start. Documentation plays a vital role as well. Keeping track of compliance and tenant needs helps maintain order and legal standards. Finally, building trust through fair follow-through ensures that promises made are promises kept. This combination of clear communication, swift action, proper documentation, and trust building is what really defines success in property management. Every tenant interaction matters, and being accountable for each one is what this role requires. When managing tenant relations, setting clear expectations is absolutely crucial. Lease terms, response times, and house rules should always be communicated in a way that leaves no room for confusion. Without clear expectations, tenants can easily become uncertain about the rules, which often leads to more complaints and disputes. This breakdown in communication quickly erodes trust between tenants and property managers, making the whole process much more difficult. On the other hand, when expectations are clearly defined from the start, tenants know exactly what to expect. This clarity helps issues get resolved more quickly and efficiently, and over time, it builds confidence and trust. Every interaction becomes smoother, and the overall relationship improves significantly. So clear terms really set the tone for successful tenant relations and property management. When handling tenant complaints, it's crucial to approach them constructively to turn potentially negative experiences into trust-building moments. First, we listen fully. This means allowing the tenant to explain their issue without interruption or defensiveness, making them feel heard and valued. Next, we acknowledge the impact by confirming what went wrong and showing genuine understanding of the inconvenience caused. Then, we act fast by assigning clear ownership of the issue, setting a timeline for resolution, and communicating when the next update will occur. Finally, we close the loop by following up after the problem is resolved to ensure the fix is satisfactory and to rebuild the tenant's confidence. Remember, every complaint counts and must be addressed promptly to maintain strong tenant relationships. In tenant relations, technology plays a crucial role in ensuring every request is accounted for and handled efficiently. The key to this is using the right tools that make service visible, fast, and trackable. We focus on 4 main systems, all working together to create one seamless tenant experience. First, communication is vital. Through platforms like tenant portals and SMS updates, we keep tenants informed and connected in real time. Next, service management is streamlined with maintenance tracking and work order apps that provide live status updates, so everyone knows exactly where their request stands. Billing processes are made easier with payment systems that support autopay and online rent, reducing hassle for tenants and management alike. Finally, record keeping is simplified with document management tools, including leases and e-signatures, ensuring everything is organized and accessible. Together, these systems create a transparent, responsive, and efficient environment that improves tenant satisfaction by providing real-time visibility into every aspect of the tenant experience. Conflict resolution is a fundamental skill in tenant relations. When disputes are handled well, they actually become opportunities to build trust. The process starts with listening carefully. This means clarifying the facts, acknowledging the tenant's concerns, and helping to reduce any heightened emotions before you jump to solutions. Next, it's important to respond clearly. You want to communicate exactly what will happen, who is responsible, and when the tenant can expect an update. Finally, follow through promptly. Closing the loop quickly with reliable action prevents small issues from growing into bigger problems. By managing conflicts in this way, we not only resolve disputes, but also strengthen relationships and build confidence with tenants. When we talk about tenant relations, it's about more than just managing properties. It's about creating a true community. A live board and an active resident network are essential tools for fostering these connections. Shared spaces play a big role here. They turn neighbors into a close-knit community by encouraging interaction and engagement. On-site events help bring people together, building a sense of belonging and trust among residents. Ultimately, people stay where they feel they truly belong. So, focusing on events, common areas, and authentic connections transforms a property from just a place to live into a vibrant community where every resident is accounted for. When it comes to legal compliance and tenant rights, it's crucial to know the law and apply it consistently. This consistency not only protects the residents, but also safeguards the property itself. Tenant trust is built on this legal discipline. As managers, we have clear obligations to uphold fair housing laws. This means applying policies evenly and avoiding any discrimination throughout advertising, screening, leasing, and enforcement. Security deposits must be handled carefully, collected, documented, and returned according to state-specific deadlines and rules about deductions. Meeting these deadlines is essential to maintain compliance. Maintenance is another critical area. Ensuring units are safe and habitable by promptly addressing health, safety, and repair issues is non-negotiable. Privacy must always be respected. Residents need proper notice before any entry, except in emergencies, to preserve their right to quiet enjoyment of their home. Every action must be accounted for, creating a transparent and trustworthy relationship with tenants while maintaining legal integrity. Retention is something we actively manage. It's not just a happy accident. Let's walk through 5 proven strategies that really make a difference. First, fast maintenance follow-up is key. When repairs are closed quickly, it builds tenant confidence and shows we care. Second, proactive check-ins help us catch issues early, well before tenants decide to move out. Third, we ensure clear renewals happen early, ideally 60 to 90 days ahead, so tenants have ample time to consider and trust the process. Fourth, fair and predictable policies are essential because consistency lowers friction and reduces disputes. Finally, recognition and small gestures go a long way. When tenants feel appreciated, they're much more likely to stay loyal. Every departure is accounted for, and these strategies help us keep churn low and relationships strong. When we focus on maintaining strong tenant relations, there's a clear and significant financial impact that benefits the whole operation. First, better relationships lead to reduced turnover costs, which in this case is a decrease of 30%. That's a substantial saving since turnover expenses can really add up when tenants leave. Next, we see a drop in vacancy rates by 18%, meaning more units stay occupied longer, which directly improves cash flow and stability. Finally, strong tenant relations also enhance rent collection, with a 12% improvement here. More consistent and timely payments mean healthier revenue streams. In short, by investing in these relationships, we're protecting and even boosting our income, making every departure accounted for and less frequent. This slide clearly shows how solid tenant relations translate into tangible financial benefits across the board. Here we have a real-world example that illustrates how focused efforts can turn a property's fortunes around in just 1 year. The challenge started with rising complaints and falling lease renewals at a 120-unit property. The core issues were slow maintenance, inconsistent updates, and growing resident frustration. To address this, management took decisive action. They reset the resident experience by establishing clear response standards, increasing weekly communication, and ensuring quicker follow-up on service requests. The results speak for themselves. Within a year, trust was restored, resident satisfaction improved, online reviews bounced back, and lease renewals increased by 18%. This case clearly shows the impact of accountability and consistent engagement at every resident touchpoint. When managing tenant relations, avoiding common pitfalls is crucial to maintaining a positive and effective property management experience. First, slow replies can seem like a small issue, but silence quickly breeds distrust among tenants, turning minor concerns into bigger problems. Next, vague policies often lead to confusion, which sparks conflict and inconsistent enforcement that undermines your authority. Delayed maintenance is another big mistake. When repairs aren't addressed promptly, Costs rise as tenants stop reporting problems early. Handling complaints defensively leaves residents feeling dismissed rather than supported, which damages trust and satisfaction. Finally, only reaching out to tenants when collecting rent makes the relationship purely transactional, missing out on opportunities to build rapport and loyalty. By steering clear of these pitfalls, you ensure every tenant interaction is accounted for and contributes to a smoother management process. Building trust with tenants happens over time, and it's really about the small, consistent actions that add up. Tenants remember the signals they receive from property management, especially when those signals show consistency, honesty, and follow-through. Consistency means the process works the same way every single time, creating a reliable experience. Honesty involves clear, direct, and realistic updates that tenants can trust. Follow-through is crucial. Promises aren't just words, but actions that tenants can actually see being fulfilled. When these elements come together, trust is earned in those repeatable moments, forming a solid foundation for strong tenant relationships. Here we focus on live measures to track tenant satisfaction in a consistent, actionable way. First, we use short pulse surveys at key points, right after move-in, maintenance, or renewal periods. These quick surveys help us gauge satisfaction levels and get timely feedback, which is essential for measuring response rates and satisfaction scores on a simple 1 to 5 scale. Next, feedback forms allow tenants to share open comments at important moments. This qualitative input helps us identify the top recurring issues quickly, enabling a faster closeout time and more effective resolution. Finally, retention rates provide a powerful indicator of overall tenant experience. Monitoring renewal and turnover rates demonstrates whether our efforts are translating into residents choosing to stay or leave. By tracking these combined signals regularly, we ensure every tenant departure is understood and addressed, helping to improve property management and tenant relations over time. When we talk about tenant relations and property management, it's crucial that every resident feels equally served. This means embracing diversity and inclusion in all aspects of how we interact with and support our community. First, culture plays a vital role. It's essential to respect different languages, norms, and community differences to create an environment where everyone feels valued. Next, access is required. We need to ensure all information, spaces, and services are usable and welcoming for all residents. Finally, policy is the backbone of our approach. Applying anti-discrimination practices consistently and visibly, without exceptions, is non-negotiable. Together, these priorities help us make sure every resident is truly accounted for and supported. In any crisis situation, it's vital to remember that bad news travels fast, and our response must travel even faster. Effective crisis communication follows a clear, structured approach to keep everyone informed and reassured. First, we start by acknowledging the issue clearly. It's important to communicate transparently that we know what happened. This builds trust and shows that we're on top of the situation. Next, we move to informing everyone about the steps we're taking right now to address the problem. Sharing what we're doing provides reassurance and demonstrates action. Then, we provide regular updates, such as scheduling the next check-in time. This ongoing communication helps maintain confidence and keeps everyone in the loop as the situation evolves. Finally, we close the loop by announcing when the issue has been resolved and outlining what comes next. This ensures that nothing is left unanswered and that everyone knows how we're moving forward. By following these 4 steps, acknowledge, inform, update, and close the loop, we make sure every update is accounted for and handled professionally. When it comes to tenant relations, empathy truly is the foundation of all effective communication. The key here is to listen first and resolve second. Taking the time to really hear what residents are saying shows that we value their experiences and concerns. This approach isn't just about fixing problems quickly. It's about making residents feel understood and respected throughout every interaction. At the front desk, where most resident interactions happen, our priority should always be to be fully present and attentive. Each conversation is an opportunity to build trust and demonstrate genuine care. Remember, Tenants don't just recall whether their issue was solved. They remember how you made them feel long after everything is fixed. Every service note, every attended request should reflect this commitment to empathy and thoughtful service. Focusing on tenants over the long term leads to a range of important benefits that really add up. First, a strong tenant focus builds a better reputation. Residents who have positive experiences become your most credible referrals, which helps attract new tenants naturally. Then, there's sustainable revenue, with higher retention rates protecting both occupancy levels and cash flow, making the business more stable. Fewer tenant turnovers mean vacancies drop, reducing the costs and effort involved in preparing units for new residents. Clear ongoing communication helps prevent disputes, lowering the risk of costly legal issues. All of this contributes to greater asset value, as stable tenancies support steady long-term property performance. Essentially, every tenant departure is accounted for, and managing these relationships carefully pays off in multiple ways over time. Let's focus on actionable steps we can start implementing immediately to improve tenant relations. First, setting a 24-hour response standard is crucial. This means every tenant inquiry or issue gets acknowledged within a day, showing that we value their time and concerns. Next, auditing every open tenant request helps us understand where attention is needed and keeps us organized. Then, sending one clear monthly update ensures tenants are consistently informed about what's happening, reducing uncertainty and building trust. Fourth, we need to fix the top 3 repeat complaints to address recurring problems that impact tenant satisfaction the most. Finally, asking tenants for feedback this week gives us real-time insights and demonstrates that their opinions matter. These 5 moves, with no delay, form a clear, practical action plan starting today to ensure every tenant departure is fully accounted for. To wrap up, the foundation of strong tenant relations is clear and consistent communication. When issues arise, responding quickly and respectfully transforms those moments into opportunities to build trust. When tenants feel genuinely heard, they're more likely to renew their leases, cooperate with management, and even recommend the property to others. Successful property management goes beyond just operations. It's fundamentally about building and maintaining relationships. As shown here, every tenant interaction is tracked and valued, because this approach drives retention, trust, and overall value. This completes our overview, highlighting the critical role of thoughtful, responsive management in fostering lasting tenant connections.